And there we have it. The voices of the young people. Yes, it's not 1.8 million young people by Ashton Solomons, who's also a young person who's benefited from the program. But President, before we start, now that we've heard the voices of the young people, and I'd really like to emphasize that we are in conversation. And this is a reflection, and so imagine we are sitting on crates somewhere in the corner. I know this is very unpresidential, but but just what was the vision behind the P1?
Excuse me for my voice. It's a real honor and a privilege to be amongst all of you. When I look at you, I see the future of our country, You are the future. Do you know that you are the future of South Africa? Thank you. So it was with these programs. This administration has, from its inception 5 years ago, and even earlier than that, 5 years ago, we decided that we are going to focus on young people. And we are going to craft many programs, as many as we can. Minister Dlamini Zuma touched on some of the programs, the 3 marquee programs, including many others. Why did we do so? We did so because we wanted to give young people an opportunity to start off with their lives. Youth unemployment is a major problem all over the world. There's not a single country that I know that does not have a youth unemployment problem. And realizing that we've got more and more young people joining the labor market. And of course, one could say this is a very nice problem to have, because when apartheid ended, we decided that we are going to open the doors of learning for young people to go into learning institutions by their millions. And by having done so, we opened up schools. We ensured that there are no fee schools. Many schools in our country today, young parents no longer pay school fees. We decided that we are going to feed young people at school. We have the biggest feeding program on the whole continent, feeding 9 million children every day for 5 days of the week. And then we focused on higher education, that we're going to give bursaries and move towards having free education to the extent that we can. And today, NSFAS supports 1.2 million young people. I know of no country on the African continent add to the conceptualization of all these programs. We rely on the private sector to create jobs, but they are not creating jobs fast enough. So government had to step in to create those job opportunities. But we've also been saying to the private sector, create jobs for young people and don't insist on prior experience. Open up job opportunities and don't say we want experienced young people, because where will they get the experience if you don't create the jobs for them? So, in government, we are moving every department to say, don't require experience, just take young people. We then created these programs, these 3 programs, to make sure to you are the ones as young people who have said, government, respond to this challenge. The NYDA, the National Youth Development Agency, is the one that came up with many of these ideas because they have shown that they are a responsible youth entity that cares about young people. Give them a round of applause for that. So sitting here, I'm rather pleased that we've created, we set up this youth employment service where we've said to the private sector, take young people in and give them a life chance opportunity by getting them to learn on the job. Opened up enormous opportunities. When COVID started, that's when we really ramped it up. We ramped it up because we created almost 1.2 million opportunities. And many of those went into schools, they went into various other sectors, which you will also talk about. So as a country, I am pleased, I'm not yet very proud, because we want to see many more of you into job opportunities, getting work, creating your own businesses, becoming employers yourself, where you employ other young people as well as older people. Now, you are growing up in an era where you've got more opportunities than what I and Minister Dlamini Zuma and Minister Ngesi and Minister Zulu had, because we never had those opportunities. But the democratic government has made sure that we open up all these opportunities, and they are there good into jobs. Our commitment, it is permanent. It is there, committed like no other. In fact, young people are the ones who have benefited more out of a democratic South Africa than any other class. Because we, as soon as you are born, we basically say to your parents, this is now the government's child. We say we will take you to higher education as well. I know of no government in the world that does something like that. And give your government an applause for a change. I'm also here to try and find somebody amongst you who will go and deliver the State of the Nation address on Thursday with a better voice. Carry on.
Thank you, President. You mentioned that we live in an era of more opportunities than what was potentially presented to you when you were younger. And I know, President, you requested that I give you a break a bit, but just briefly, let's go on a personal journey. What was your first opportunity? And what did that do? And how did it translate into your life today?
During holidays, I walked the streets of Johannesburg, knocking from door to door during school holidays, asking for a school holiday job. And I was in standard 9, which is today's grade 11, I think. And I walked door to door saying, kan ek werk kry, asseblief, not a vakantie werk. And I got a job at a company called L. Suzman. It was to pack boxes, and Minister Dlamini won't like this. It was to pack boxes of cigarettes. She hates cigarettes. And boxes of sweets. She also hates sweets. And that was what I did, put on an overall and packed and packed and packed. So that was my first job opportunity. And that taught me one thing. hard work. And we used to work very hard from like 8 o'clock until 6 o'clock in the evening. And we would pack into boxes like I do today. My first job was real hard work. And that's why I encourage young people, don't just want to get an office job. Go and get any job, manual or otherwise, because it teaches you the discipline of work. It teaches you the discipline, because that was the best job for me. Thank you.
Thank you very much, President. I guess the pen that you sign with is quite, it has. As a young person who has had his first, yeah.
Thank you, Loazi. Let me just start by saying 1.8 million jobs created. That's a brilliant initiative by the President 3 years ago, and we are benefiting, reaping those benefits right now. I think it's deeper than just 1.8 million jobs created. It's 1.8 million young people part of the South African economy. And even deeper so, that's 1.8 million households benefiting from this program. For me personally, my journey usually started, like most people, after matric. That's when we are inducted into the workforce, right? I went to 21 interviews, and I failed 21 times over. It's a very sensitive thing, okay? And by complete chance, I was introduced to community development via an organization called Year Beyond. So Year Beyond is in collaboration, obviously, with the NYDA. And I'm from a very lovely community on the Cape Flats called Heideveld. And one of the local IPs that implements a program for Year Beyond called Great Commission United, literally 5-minute walk from my house. So I was going around everywhere in Cape Town looking for a job opportunity, and it was literally a 5-minute walk from my house via Year Beyond with this collaboration in the NYDA. I do want to say that through the Year Beyond program, I got introduced to so much, one being mentorship. We know that more than 70% of Fortune 500 companies are involved in mentorship programs, and I think that's a brilliant segue and leeway for us to speak about continuity and consistency. I mean, the young people seated here before you, Mr. President, they represent the faces of our past, our present, and our future. And it would be an absolute disservice if we didn't touch on continuity and consistency as a benefactor of this program.
And Ashton, it's quite profound that you touch on continuity, because President Ashton is now actually opportunities outside of our communities, because we find them more attractive, we find them more appealing. It's nice to say I'm in an office. It's nice to have the aircon blowing in your face, but honestly, who then will change our communities and build our communities if not us? And those of us, I mean, I got an opportunity and I started volunteering at an NPO at the age of 16, and you would know that volunteer work is not the most glamorous types of work, but it gives you that necessary experience. And Chair, I would like to bring you into this conversation. How do we glamorize? Ooh, yeah, that's a powerful word, glamorize. How do we glamorize, and how do we make community work and volunteering and being active in our communities and rebuilding our communities attractive to young people? Because Ashton went around and had 21 interviews and fell short 21 times and felt as though he potentially is inadequate. He felt as though he potentially was not fit for any formal means of employment in this country, and it's heartbreaking. So how do we let young people realize that isekhoneni, like, you just need to find it, it's here. It's not, you're not gonna go to Johannesburg and find it. You're not gonna go to the city center and find, your people are going to build you. Chair, How do we do that?
Yeah, no, thanks for that question, Ras. I think before I respond to that, I just want us to reflect quickly. As young people in South Africa, I think it's really just so amazing to be alive and to be a South African at this particular point in time. And I think we just need to give recognition to the likes of your Tyler, who have won Grammy Awards. You've got your Bafana Bafanas. You've got your Bafana Bafana team that has, went on to the next level in the AFCON. So really, what an amazing time to be a South African, And I think linked to that would be how do we make use of what's already at our disposal, right? Now, majority of us have these, right? Smartphones in one way or the other, or at least we've got access to a smartphone. Now, we do have our National Pathway Management Network that has over 4.2 million young people that are already accessing the opportunities on that particular platform. You've got over 1.2 million that have already directly benefited from the initiatives that have been brought to young people through your presidential employment stimulus, as well as yourself, right? We are living and we are reflecting on 30 years of democracy. And part of that requires us to really reflect on the young people of yesteryears that fought tirelessly for the fruits that we are benefiting today. And with that requires the killing of the South, because what that does is that you are then able to plow back to your communities. You're then able to plow back to your corners. And what President said insofar as how and when the PYEI was conceptualized 5 years ago, it's also having an appreciation that we're not going to reap the benefits now, right? But the work that we're doing today will have multiple effects for the youth of tomorrow. And I think, once we become cognizant of that, and once we also then begin to kill that spirit of self, we then have a greater appreciation that the opportunities do exist. The opportunities are there. We've got various earning opportunities, learning opportunities that we present to young people. But it's equally then important that young people access those. And you can access them from your smartphones. I mean, what we've done through our partners was to say, young people are saying, for instance, we are alive to the high data costs, right? So these platforms that I make reference to require no data, but we refer to them as zero-rated platforms, where you are able to access those opportunities. You can have no airtime, no data, and you are then able to apply. You are then able to reach those opportunities. But I think the important part is really just to emphasize the point of coming on board to what is already made available. Minister spoke about how 30 years, there are numerous programs and initiatives that we can speak about. The government of the day is a government that cares about young people. I mean, there's a mantra that says, government says they are leaving no young person or no one behind. But equally, we are saying as the agency that in our initiatives, in our work, we're ensuring that no young person gets left behind. So I think that's important. And once we begin to do that, then we will see the likes of Ashton multiplying across various communities. We'll see the Ashtons in Begweni, KomaKukulethu, Ekhayelitshe, and the likes. So I think that's important to really inculcate this amongst young people.
I think I want to take us back, understanding now how it is that we can make the programs more appealing to young people, multiply the likes of Ashton in our various communities. President, you mentioned earlier on that the programs and the initiatives of government by design are such that government adopts the child. You stated that this is now government's child. And I would like to believe, likewise, with the PYEI and the Presidential Employment Stimulus Program, that it is government's child. But it takes a village to raise a child. And we cannot do it on our own. That we can't. I think maybe we would have wanted to, but I don't think we would have wanted to. We're an inclusive government, so we would want to work with various partners and stakeholders. And how do they come on board? And how have they come on board in the past 3 years?
Well, we were very clear right from the beginning that we need a multiplicity of role players or partners, to put it better, partners who are going to address this problem, because government cannot do it alone, and parents cannot do it alone. Schools or universities or colleges cannot do it alone. It needs a multi-pronged approach. And that is why we crafted programs, like, for instance, the Youth Employment Service. That one is a program in which which was initiated by government together with the private sector, and where we said we want to work together so that this program becomes a program that will benefit young people. And other programs, we have programs for community service, where the communities, various institutions in the community, or NGOs if you like, also participate in the programs to open up opportunities for young people, opportunities to give them experience. In other areas, we've had government departments. One of those that I like even more is the Defense Force. Our Defense Force, in terms of our Constitution, is there to defend the people of aggression from outside. But our Defense Force has become what I think is the best Defense Force, because it goes beyond the call of duty. We've brought it in, and they have also crafted programs to empower young people. So we've got a national program where the Defense Force plays a key role. Minister Zuma, NARISEC brings together young people, yes, much better as well, where the Defense Force plays a critical role in training young people, providing them with life skills, job opportunity training as well, and also teaching them discipline, the discipline of work. But more than that, also imparting important skills to them. Our National Defense Force has a variety of skills that it imparts to young people. Engineering skills, medical assistance skills, you name it, they have it all. So government departments also participate in that. Agriculture participates, including our International Relations Department. It also participates in helping young people to learn international partners, to participate in these programs as well. They support us, and one of the programs that I would like to see us pushing more and more is to send young people to other countries to go and learn international education, where we say we are going to send 5,000, 10,000, even more to other countries, to other institutions, so that they can go and learn. China does it to good effect. If you look at, institutions in the world, you'll find that China has more young people who have been sent to go and learn certain skills, and they always go back to their own country to make a contribution. So we want to do the same. I can say, and I'm being very, see, one of the founders was educated outside the country. He learned enormous skills as to be able to bring them back, and he also started some work there as a lawyer, and that was Pixley Kaisa Kaseme. So it's a multiplicity of programs and multiplicity of partners who we bring in to assist us to empower young people. And we want to have a multiplier effect in as far as that is concerned as well. Because these organizations of whatever type, including sports organizations, so that they also empower and assist our young people to be sports people, and also music, or if you like, what do we call it, arts. I mean, you referred to Tyler, who got an Emmy award, they call it a Grammy Awards, a Grammy Award. I've memorized that song. If you want to know how to sing that song, come to me. I will sing it for you.
President, we can take on the dance floor shortly after this conversation. So you mentioned, President, the willingness for us to work with sports organizations, and I would assume that there's a great sense of discipline that needs to come with being a sportsman, particularly if you want to play at a professional level. But there's also a great sense of discipline that you need to have as an individual, assuming any role in an organization. So, Ashton, I want to bring you in with regards to a comment that was made about the discipline of work and how it is that such an opportunity gives you access into understanding the key valuable experiences that you had on your pathway to employment.
Yes, I think motivation is short-lived, but discipline is long-lived. I think one of the key points that I want to focus on is, what if every young person just got that one shot that I got? What if every young person just got that one opportunity to prove what they can do, their potential? And I think that echoes across any government organization, any institution. I think right here, right now, we are seated among like-minded individuals, like-minded organizations, like-minded financial contributors. And if we speak beyond this 3 to 5 year program that the President started, as brilliant as it is, the future doesn't start in 10 years' time. The future starts today.
We're seated amongst like-minded people. I like that. President, in that other room over there, we have 76 exhibitors where young people throughout the course of the day have had access to engaging with them, and they've had access to gain access to opportunities, funding opportunities, internships. Others are presenting to them access into learning as well. We've got a few TVET colleges that have joined us today, and I think I'm now going to allow, because I had highlighted that this is genuinely a conversation, I'm going to then allow for 3 questions from the floor to all of my panelists on panel. Okay, I see a hand. Okay, I see a hand. And this side. Oh, because you have a South African flag, I will note your hand and your socks. So the gentleman with the dreadlocks, and then we have a hand here in front, and then we have a hand with the proudly South African gentleman over there. I'm sure.
Hi, everyone. Good day. Very nervous right now, obviously, so I'm going to try and make the most of this. So my thing is this. I want to know from the President, what's your intention with the Community Arts Center program, and then how it actually adds value to also bringing back the opportunities, not just employment opportunities, but business opportunities in our community. And then especially when it comes to the Young Creatives program, which is also an NYDA program. Currently now, I am the chairperson of Community Arts Center Network of Western Cape. I am one of the beneficiaries. I don't think a lot of people know programs can actually really aid a whole lot of things. You know, we are not asking for money. We're just asking for more transparency, more engagement, more collaboration, you know, and then for organizations like yourself to also, like NYDA, to not only come to Philippi Village, which is a white organization, but to also come to Philippi Arts Center, which is a grassroots organization made by the people of Philippi for Philippi, so that they can change the perspective of the townships, you know, that also the people in the township are not just like hands like this waiting, but we have community art centers, we have community art center managers, art administrators, we have art facilitators that are working within our art schools, you know, our administrators, we have art facilitators that are working within our art schools, you know, our schools. In fact, with the teacher assistant, Philippi Art Center has placed facilitators who were getting paid 1,800 just as a stipend to go assist creative studies teachers, because creative studies is also important in the school. But then those better income, you know, so there is also a way that better income, you know, so there is also a way that ourselves we can actually make the most out of the opportunities that you are giving us. But there has to be, you have to meet us, at least entertain our ideas also, you know, our solutions, because they are. So my question, like, what are your intentions with the Community Arts Center program as it relates to the young creatives? And then, yes, because I really believe that if you can look into that, there's really something for our communities. Thank you.
There's another Tyler that we're coming with. We have a hand over here.
Thank you. Good afternoon, President, Mr. President, to the panelists. My name is Alexandria Proctor, and I'm one of the directors of the NYDA that you appointed 2 years ago. So I'll start by saying thank you for appointing me. It's been an absolute honor to serve on the NYDA board with my fellow directors, with the CEO, and all the work we do. UCT, I started a tech startup. We've now grown to become the largest student housing platform on the African continent. Cape Town's hyper-growth tech startup ecosystem is so exciting. There are the most incredible tech startups coming out of Cape Town, coming out of Joburg. There are young South African founders that are building world-class tech ecosystems. So I've got a two-part comment I want to make. First, I want to invite you to really engage with our tech ecosystem, to come meet founders, to meet venture capital, to see what we're doing in South Africa, globally. We're doing this incredible work. You know, my chairperson, we spoke about how South Africans are just doing phenomenal on the world stage. Now I want to talk about our tech ecosystem, our tech startups and our founders that also are performing incredibly globally. So I'd love to extend an invitation to you to see what we're doing. And the second part is, do you have any thoughts around this? I mean, does the presidency and your office, are you guys thinking about the tech ecosystem, about startups, about hypergrowth startups, about our technology sector? What's your thoughts around there and any actions that are happening in that sector from your office? Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. And my proud
Valley Stellenbosch. Stellenbosch quite resourceful
already
town. South Africa quite resourceful country. My question to everyone out here, everyone that's young, including you, Mr. President. You're quite young in spirit as well. Thank you for that. My question is quite simple. In South Africa, we are quite resourceful in many ways. And we are innovative in many ways. The whole world is talking about sustainability. And we are all talking about climate change. We as young people, right, where can we access funds? Where can we access resources that contributes to climate change awareness in South Africa? The whole world is talking about it at the moment. What is our government doing, and what can we as young people do to create opportunities in that space? Talking about sustainability, I think we as young people should be more innovative. Innovative in the sense of, we know that food security is an issue in our country, right? Why would we how can we contribute to making sure that food security is tackled by starting our own vegetable gardens? People in certain communities or certain provinces has access to starting their own community vegetable gardens, where certain communities have not access to that. And then just the cherry on the cake, Mr. President, we are a champion country. We are in the semifinals of the African Cup of Nations. We've won the Rugby World Cup. So our country are very attractive. It's very attractive in South Africa. But what are we doing to attract foreign investors to invest in the young people of South Africa. We should be a champion nation. We are a champion nation. Kosi Sikeleli, and thank you for all the young people for being out here.
You know, Chair, you touched on how alive young South Africans are. I mean, when going through my notes at some point, I was like, there are so many songs that have made their ways into pop culture, President, that have been...
You know, I got to grips with Amapiano. I was already seeing people in Europe dancing to Amapiano songs. And that started to educate me about Amapiano, because what it meant is that that genre created here in South Africa by young people had already spread way, way, way beyond. In December, I met, and I sat her down and I said, just explain this genre Amapiano to me. And she explained it called South Africa's soft power. What we've become accustomed to, the world really has become accustomed to the American soft power through their music, through their movies and all that. And through that, they've been colonizing the whole world. I'm not suggesting that we should colonize the world, but we should certainly spread our own culture, our music, our artistry. That is being led by young people. And that should teach us in government that we should support initiatives and efforts more and more that are at community level, that are also started by young people. And the tech startups, and I accept the invitation. You invite me, I'll come anytime. I'm just held back by my bosses. Got bosses who hold me back, but I'll follow you. I could even follow you now when we finish to take me there. Yes, in our office, in the presidency, we've been focusing more on these presidential youth initiatives. We now need to move more, and advisedly so, advised by people like yourselves, to move into supporting tech startups and many other startups, particularly that are started by young people. Because in young people resides innovation, talent, and creativity. And I'm finding young people, as I said, are the most talented. And what government needs to do is to take a chance on young people, to take risks on young people. That's precisely what we are doing. Our programs in the main are focusing on women, empowering women, as well as young people. And if you listen to our conversations in cabinet and in government departments, that is what we are focusing our attention on. That does not mean that we are ignoring the 35s and up. Geezers like me. Doesn't mean that we're forgetting them, but we are mainly focusing on young people. I like what Hendricks, the man with the flag, was saying. You are the one, you said you've got socks that are made with the South African flag that you want to give me. I welcome that. But I particularly find your input very, very interesting, focusing on, will there be access to capital, to funding? And yes, the National Empowerment Fund was created to fund young entrepreneurs. And in the main, it has done that with billions and billions of rands. And we want to do that more and more with our other funds. And we do so, for instance, with skills development and all that. But young people want funding, capital to get their business started. You introduce another wonderful term which is interesting coming from young people, sustainability, and also addressing climate change. That I find particularly attractive. But more the point that you raise about vegetable gardens and how we can increase food security by getting vegetable gardens set up in our communities so that we raise the level of consciousness amongst our people that they should be able to grow their own food in their back gardens, in community centers. And there are a number of communities that find a piece of land where they all say, we are all going to contribute to growing this and that and that. And that in many ways also contributes to economic development and how we get foreign investors, as you said, to come and help us grow our economy. And I can tell you that foreign investors are finding South Africa very attractive, particularly in the business processing areas, where many of them are setting up businesses here for things like the call centers, business processing places. And Cape Town has become very, very popular with companies like Amazon setting up here, Google setting up here. So that is bringing billions and billions of rands into South Africa. So you know, we've become the most taken them because they find that the education system that many people criticize so much is producing people who are very proficient, not only in English, but also in other languages. So when they come to set up a call center for the world, they come here because they find that South Africans are very articulate, are very confident in answering questions for their businesses from all over the world. So we are attracting foreign investors. But who do they focus on? Young people. They want young people because young people are more flexible, they are more quicker to learn, and they are actually able to take up the jobs and the tasks very easily. So I repeat by saying the opportunities for young people in our country are plentiful. As the chair of the NYDA was saying here, we've got 4.5 million young people who are already on the SA Youth Mobi site, who troll that site, who fly to their CVs, and many of them are able to find jobs. And in fact, employers go to that site first to go and look for young people who are knowledgeable in certain crafts and in certain areas. So the opportunities are expanding. And we in government are also expanding those opportunities. And the private sector is following in our wake. So I would say this is a century for young people. Be brave. Do much more than what you did. You went to 21 interviews. I went knocking to more than 50 doors in Johannesburg looking for opportunities. As they say, you've got to kiss many frogs before you find your princess, before you find your prince. So I've kissed many, many frogs. So you could do the same as well.
And President.
Yes, sir. No problem. It's mine. Or yours?
No, it's yours. And I think it's quite comical that you mentioned kissing within the month of love, which is February. But as we close off this conversation, President, last weekend, actually this weekend that has just passed, was a very significant weekend in February, and it was the last physical voter registration weekend for South Africans to register to vote. We're, however, not saying voter registration is closed. Guys, on your phone, you are able to register, literally at the tips of your fingers. President, young people are saying, "Ithini plan." Itini plan. We want to go to the polls. Itini plan.
Well, iplan ikhona. Ikhona iplan.
Let me just make sure. I think we're so sure. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Gee, technology. Card, and you can be registered right now. That's technology, and that is the opportunity that we all have to make this country, to make it a successful country, to make us get out of this dip where we've been, to make us more productive, but more importantly, to make us proud of our national identity. In the diversity that we have, we're one of those countries that are fortunate to make one nation and one successful and also powerful nation. You look at us now internationally. People tell me that as they flash their passports, break into a smile, because South Africa has now been placed at a fairly high level. We are a small country, just 62 million. We are recognized, our voice is heard, and people take us seriously. Now, I would say we need to take ourselves seriously as young people and be able to contribute. My voice was pretty bad. It's become better, and you make me better. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, President. And that brings us to the end of our conversation this afternoon. Oh, guys, if we had time. But we can join the conversation. We can still join the conversation online. You literally can tweet the president, he responds. I know his team responds, and he sometimes also equally. And you are one amongst others in the room. So thank you so much for your reflections, Chair. Thank you very much for your inputs and your insight as the custodian. Thank you very much for borrowing us your afternoon. I know that you've got a very lengthy day tomorrow, and you still have to prepare for the day that is Thursday. But I am not doing the vote of thanks. I'm going to request, President, you mentioned the song, you mentioned that you can dance 4 times. And when you said you can dance, you also went on to